All right. You know what gets me really excited? You know what gets me super excited? Writing code for my game, The God Killer. I could be at Disneyland on a ride, going like on the Pirates of the Caribbean in those underground caves and be skeletons and stuff and I'd be thinking the whole time, I want to get home so I can write some code on my game. I could be watching fireworks on the 4th of July coming up. I don't like fireworks that much. I'd rather be home writing code. Could be at a party with Barack Obama and the ghost of Hunter S. Thompson. And I'd be like, I want to be gone from here so I can be writing code on my game. And that's what I'm doing right now. Hey, I'm Eric. I got a game I'm making. It's called The God Killer. It's a 3D top-down puzzler. And this is a little live coding session. I'm going to kick it off as I always do. Almost always do. I shouldn't say always. Like 100% of the time, really? Um, no, it's not a always true thing. Well, almost all the time. I kick it off with a demo of the game, and I'll do that again today. And then after that, which will take maybe 5 to 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes. I got some nuts in my throat, some cashews. Then I will get to proper work, and you're welcome to be with me on this journey. If you don't show up, I'm still going to keep going without you. I don't need you to be here to make progress, but it is nice. And if you do want to join me on one of these little journeys, you can come in Monday through Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. ish Pacific Standard Time for a live coding session, just like the one you're watching right now. Or on Sundays, 3 p.m. afternoon on the west coast of North America. I do more game development, but not programming. It's like art or level design or audio, stuff like that. All right, so where are we at now? I'll show you something that's kind of ridiculous. I'm just going to hit play to demo this thing. And it's not going to look like something that should be in a game, and it's not intended to be in the game. But I'll just show you because it's like the intermediate state of something that's in development now. By the end of the session, I think I'll have it refined and it will look more correct. So this is my game, and this character in the middle is who I'm controlling. She moves throughout this 3D world. The part that is kind of new and doesn't make a lot of sense to you probably is all this red stuff around her. I'm going to drop down so you can see it better. Looks a lot clearer in the darkness. So I just turned it on, but it's not meant to be like on all the time. These little tracers that come out, they're supposed to be a guide that shows up under certain conditions when the player wants to see where a certain action called flinging will carry her. So in the game you have walking, which is just pushing the button in one of 4 directions, and it moves you just 1 square at a time each time you do it. And then you have flinging, which happens when I hold down the shift key and I press the direction button, and that makes me move a whole bunch of squares at once. It will move as far as I can go until something blocks my way, and then that happens in 1 turn. Doesn't matter how far a distance it is. This could be a giant level that spans off multiple kilometers north of me, and if there was something to catch me on the other side when I did the fling, I would go there. I would go there instantly in 1 turn. That's the brutal, uncompromising logic of this game. So, since most of the time, when that catch point, that thing that you would run into, is off screen, you wouldn't actually know if it's there or not, because I mean, you could know by memory perhaps. I wanted to add a feature where you hold down the shift key and then this little bit of red comes up and it shoots out kind of like a visible radar of sorts, these little dots, and they go out until they meet something that says yes, you can fling this way, or no, you can't fling this way. And if it's just going off into infinity, it would go out a ways and then it would stop and fizzle out, and there'd be no line going off in that direction. You can't go that way. Right now there's no logic hooked up for displaying like these seek rays appropriately, but in this session I aim to hook that up, and I'll do that first, and then I may add some animation beyond that to this. But to start with, I'll just make it so that these things logically reflect the reality of the game world, and that will be pretty cool to see working when I'm done. Another rule is this X will show up and make direction unflingable if an enemy is blocking you, or just more generally a creature. I suppose not every creature in this game is an enemy of yours. So here's I got killed by one of those guys. So here's an example, I guess. So I would not be able to fling to the east here because there is a creature in the path, and that'll stop me not even from flinging like to the square next to him, but any flinging at all. So that's a rule. So yeah, let's get coding. Let's get making that. This game's written in Unity. I have inside of my player object these guides here, and each one has some properties that can be set by the game logic once I hook it up. The length that they go, the state, blocking, block seeking, and then some prefabs that are used to create these objects that are part of that rendering. So first thing I need to do is change this a little bit so that the inspector properties, not just inspector properties, but the interfaces that are used to render this will be sufficient for all the different states that I'll need. So I'll do that next. Okay, seek ray, I decided I wanted to rename unblocked to catching. So it means that there's something on the other end that will catch you. And just thought that term was actually more explicit about what it meant. And I like good names for things. Good names help me clarify my thought, and when I come back to code later on, I can get into it a little bit more easily. Okay. So I'm creating the public methods that the game logic can use to control what's shown here. Most of these things are, well, all of them have some kind of animation that goes along with it. So all of them, I'll pass in a number between 0 and 1 that indicates how far in the animation they are. Other parameter length will be the length of the ray, how far it extends. That will probably do the trick. I did make some notes on my iPad. I'm gonna go grab it real quick. Just bear with me. I'm gonna be back in just a second. So my iPad smells like delicious taco beef because I whoa, weird. Okay, never mind. Because I carried home some delicious work leftover lunch, and it leaked in my bag a little bit. Guides is what I stored it in. Okay, got it. So show seeking doesn't have an animation associated with it. Just kind of disable that for a little bit, because I think I'll end up deleting this code, but before I do that, I want to make sure the new code works. So there's some code here already that lets me, inside of the editor, show some different things. Okay, actually I just realized I can just leave this here, but kind of I can refactor all this. So if that's true, then I can just say hide. Let's say one. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. If you hear somebody on a bullhorn outside, that's a local evangelical. Not a great fan of those guys. If you're out walking around on the street out there, they like to tell you, you're going to hell! You're going to die and go to hell! Repent! That's what they do. For hours and hours and hours. With a fucking bullhorn. They can't just even talk to you like a normal person. They gotta have the power of the Lord. Hate them. Is hate too strong a word? Yeah, a little bit. No, it's not. I hate them. I like the idea of being able to test out the animation inside of the editor. So I think I am going to add one more property that I can just pass through the editor. It's a nice thing being able to check these things without having to hit the play button on the game. You can more precisely control the state to demo different parts of it. So show catching. Yeah, that makes a nice little slider. Boom, doo. I wrote, by the way, I wrote like an article about writing this type of code. If anyone is interested, let me show it real quick. So it's on Medium. I put in some stuff in here, like if you want to write procedural generation code that runs within the editor and is used to kind of upgrade what your scene looks like or put together different objects, there's some pretty good tips in this. I will take this same URL and put it in the stream description after I end the stream, if you're interested. I thought it was a pretty good article. There's some stuff in it that I did not find anyplace else in all my searching. I had to learn with pain, and if you don't like to learn with pain, and you're trying to do similar stuff to what I'm doing, read my little article. Okay, so there's all that. So now I've got these public methods. Now show seek dots, right now it just makes one long line off to the endpoint, but I wanted it to have a few different modes to it. So let me see. So I'm thinking about these two modes. The first one is it's out seeking. The second one is that it's catching. It's found a catch point. If it's catching, then I want it to be drawn in a different way, it's almost easier just to show it than to describe it. Let's call this thinking of like a more general way of stating it. Show solid seek dots. Show resolved seek dots versus show unresolved seek dots. So if they're resolved, they should have a more permanent look to them. Unresolved, they'll look a little more tentative. Okay. And then I'll change this to add a style. Yeah, it's almost easier. Sometimes you can over refactor. Here, I'm just going to do this the undry way first. And you tell me, viewer, coder, which one makes more sense to you? Which one's easier to understand? So with this one, I want the scale. That's good. So if it's resolved, I want the dots to just be at 100% all the time. If it's not resolved, if it's unresolved, I want the dot scale to start out kind of tiny, but then get closer to full size at the end. So let's see. So what do you think about that? So it's going to be const taper length equals 5 const int. Let's see. Length minus I think it's not a max. Taper length. Okay. So max value will be 5. So if it's length minus I, if I is 5, okay. Okay, so that's going to give me a number between 5 and 0, reflecting the distance between. Okay, that's fine. So I can say it's dumb to multiply times 1, but it helps me think. So 1f This is the maximum 100% scale. So this gives me a number between 1 and 5, or 0 and 5. So divide this by the taper length. So it'll start out far away is larger, and I want it the opposite. I want it to be smaller. So let's say taper length minus okay. And I don't want like the furthest away dot to be completely 0, scaled to 0, because then it'll just be invisible. Let's call this taper range. Alright, this is like a large enough calculation here that I will benefit by writing it out a little more carefully in multiple statements. And then if I want, I can tighten it up and put it all in one line or whatever later. Okay, so min taper, let's say 0.10%, max taper 1F, float, the range between them, taper range, equals max taper minus min taper. Alright, that there. That's just too much stuff all in one place, so I'll just say float scale ratio equals this one first. Okay. Then if I'm in the debugger, I can kind of easily see what it's trying to do there. So that should give me a number between 0 and 1. It's a ratio, you know, it's like 0 to 100%. Okay. And then for the size of my dot, I say the minimum taper size, and then I have the taper range, which is going to end up being like 0.8f, like 0.8 of a meter. Multiply that by the scale ratio. And that should give me a scale for that dot. So then I just need to add that scale, extra scale parameter to this function here. And by the way, for anyone who's watching this who's a coder, here's my question to you. If you know about the drive principle, don't repeat yourself, they say. So I have two functions here. They both share code. My assertion to you is that it's better to not copy the shared code into like a separate function that gets called by these two, to go ahead and have some repeated code between the two. I think it's just easier to read. You can refactor too much. Okay, show point. Skip. It's got to be local scale, I believe. Fair chance that looks stupid, but quite interested to see the result. Okay, so it's a show point. This will be 1F, 1F. Okay, waiting for the Unity build. That's all right. I kind of thought that would happen. So let's get so my new code did not immediately work. It usually does not. It usually does not. This one might be a simple renaming issue. Oh, it was just renaming. Okay. That's kind of nice. Ah, now the scale's doing something wonky over there, which I'll investigate shortly. Okay. Okay. Wow. Kind of fun to see what weird effect it has. So the scale is doing some things I don't want it to do. If I feel like I haven't been ignored, I made some changes to the code and Unity did something in response. Alright, so the easiest way to figure this out is just going to be to debug it. Step through in the debugger. I think I'll turn off these other ones, since I might get confused about which one I'm looking at otherwise. Do that by just setting this to none. Okay. South is the one I want to troubleshoot. West I'll turn off. Okay. I remember having problems like this with scaling the explosion particles, so I may go back to that code to see if I did something different there that applies. Let's take a look. The debugger first, though. Length 21, seek dots, yeah, all that looks fine. So I think that my taper range is going to be 0.8. No? Min taper. That's annoying. Why would you not display the constant? If I say max taper down here, what do you think? It's not a good debugger. Microsoft, it's not a good debugger if you just won't show what the value of a const is. Jesus. Penalizing me for using consts. Alright. What do I think the scale ratio should be? Hard to see what's going on with these consts. But this has got to be 5. And this has to be 5 again. Well, let's just see. Scale ratio 1. Okay, I was thinking it should go smaller. I was thinking it should go like point something. Like it would be at 0.1. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I'm gonna have to take out these consts to actually see what's going on, because if I do stuff like just mouse over, it's all unknown, because I have a bullshit IDE. Thank you, Microsoft. But I know this is wrong, so hit play, get past that, take out the const, even though it's what I want it to be. Set that. Okay, now may I look at it? Thank you, Jesus. Okay, expect taper range to be 0.8. Oh, 0.9, okay, yeah, that's right. So the I0 length minus I, it's going to be 5. This here is going to evaluate to 5. Divide that by 5, I get 1, which makes 5 minus 1, which makes 4. Is that true? No, it goes to 1. Okay, that's right. Okay, so I don't know what this is. Why would that be 21? I said the maximum. Oh, no, I should do the minimum. Okay. So I think I can evaluate that without recompiling. Yeah, I can. Okay. So this would end up being 5. 5 by 5 is, yeah, 1. But I'm doing it wrong. It's these two guys. And then divide that by taper length. So this will be 0. Divide that by taper length, we'll get my scale ratio at 0 to begin with. That'll be min taper plus the taper range times that. So this should equal, well, it won't because I haven't recompiled yet, but it should end up equaling 0.1f. So let's go with that. Bam. Save. know if that's the old code or the new code. I'll just find out real quick. No, it's the new code. Good. Okay, so I expect dot scale to be 0.1. Yep. Dot scale. Still 0.1. Okay, that was the other thing it was doing. So now I'm on I equals 1. And I expected scale ratio to not be 0. But it is. I think that's probably because I'm dividing by this. Let me see. So all this, they're saying is 0. This should be 4. No? Length 21 minus I. Oh, no, I guess it is right. Because I was going to say that after I got past 5. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's cool. So far, that part is right. That part is right. I will have to loop through until about I equals 15 before I start seeing a change. So let me just go through that kind of quick. I is 4. So I'm just going to go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So here, my scale ratio is still 0, as it should be. And let me see if I'm yet in the right place for it to go up. Yeah, okay. So taper length minus blah 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 blah. Still 0. So what's this? Is this gonna be 5 still? Yeah, okay, maybe one more loop through. So for anyone just joining me, I'm making some code that will update this animated guide to some actions a player can take. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Okay. Now, is it going up? What? Okay, here I'm at I minus 1. Okay, so I 16, length 21. Is it one more loop through? Yeah, okay, it's one more loop through. Okay, now we're at 4, and this is 4, and this is 1, and do I need to convert taper length to a float? That's probably it. Okay, so 1 divided by 5 should be like 0.2. But I think it needs me to convert that to float. Alright. So it looks like it needs another compile. Oh. Alright, so there's these little red dots. They should extend. Oh, there they are. They're right down there. When I scaled them, they got really small, like I wanted them to, but they also, their coordinate system scaled too, which is annoying. I just wanted their size to change. I don't want to have to figure out their positioning as well. But anyways, at the end of this, they're supposed to get large again, and I just made a change to the code, and that should produce that effect. Let me just try real quick to good. Okay, so that part I did right. Okay, and then if I go out another one, I should get 2 little ones, and it starts getting large. And 1 more, 3 little ones, and it gets larger. So now I just got to fix this coordinate positioning thing. I'm going to look at briefly some other code I wrote that did a scaling and see what I did there, because I might just be trying to solve the same problem. No, I made the same local scale thing there. Did I change the position in some way to keep it from... That might have been it. I think maybe I changed the position and then I changed the scale. Okay, so first I set the scale to 100%. I set the position. I don't know about this. I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to work because I know what I could do. If I set the scale not on the whole object, but just the game object that's inside. So each one of these dots has got a container. And you can see I'm saying the scale here at 0.46, 0.46, okay? But if I instead set the scale of the interior game object that has the actual mesh, that may do the trick. So let me just take one as an example and manually set it. So this one, 0.28, that's what it is. So I'll go to 1, 1, 1, that's the full size, and I'll take this interior mesh, which is the thing I want to scale, set that to 0.28, that to 0.28, and that looks like the intended effect right there. So I think that's the trick. So, the bad thing is this call I'm going to make is expensive. So I will have to store the result. Actually, I'm not even gonna. I just don't want to forget to do this. It's really easy to do. I just gotta do it. If I leave an optimized note, that means I'll come back and check it if things are slow, but this is easy. Store offset transform with init prefab. Alright, what do we got? What do we got? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So arguably that's too small when it's at its smallest. So I know how to fix that. Pretty easy. Just have the small size be 50% instead of 10%. It gets a little bit bigger as I go, and if I change its status to be catching, then it gets big at the beginning too. Well, I don't like that. Looks like an off by one type of a problem. So if I'd say it's at 0, go north. Whoa. One, two. It just looks like an off by one error. Yeah, that's it. I'll just fix it that way. Two. Oh, that's kind of right though. One here, two there. I could say one means there's one something shown. I just change what the length means, and there's suddenly no bug. 0, it's not a valid state. There, I just fixed a bug by not writing any code, but just defining what was a bug. Okay. Just trying to, without playing the game, just set up a view that's close to what you'd see in the game. Yeah, it seems like about right. Right there. Let's set this 5. Alright, so it would just kind of come out a little bit at a time. It would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it would be catching. And that's how you know that you can go there. North. Yeah, I can see a case for making like these little dots just a little bit smaller while they're seeking, and then when they get to this size, they'll be very dramatically different. So I'm gonna set this down somewhere in between the two extremes. In fact, I'll do it right between the two extremes that I had previously. No, that's cool. There, that's actually more accurate, I think. Although I'm kind of wondering if I've got, okay, that doesn't seem quite right actually. So is it going up? Oh, my player is up one too high, that's why. So let's move her down where she ought to be. Okay, cool. And then the red marker is landing at the same level. Good. What was before, I just had her up too high. Okay. Yeah, what the heck, I'll hit play and try that. Okay, let me get the actual logic that seeks and scans through the level and makes these endpoints actually correspond to what is happening in the level. Let me get that working. There is some glue here to make, and actually before I do that, I'll forget about this if I don't do it now. Store offset transform with inner prefab. So It's kind of annoying, but it won't kill me. I wish it wasn't considered a costly operation to just find the child transform of another transform, but apparently it is something that you want to do and store the result of. So that's what I'll do. I'll do it the right way. Okay. Let's go. Alright, this is definitely a candidate for refactoring into one little worker function, private point, call it instance point, prefab, float, y rotation. Okay, so then we say turn new point. Nope, can't do that yet. Point equals new point parent okay. I should call it something besides parent because it'll get confused with. It'll confuse me into thinking that it's the parent of the point or something like that, but it's not. So let's call this container. And then this is a great refactoring. This is an example of useful refactoring as opposed to the nonsense that I could have done with those other two functions. So blocked and equals instance point blocked prefab, transform, Y rotation. That's it. Just one line to replace like 4 or 5, 6 lines. Yeah, okay. So I can also just move this into here. Because this is not really a reusable function. I might as well just put it inside of here. So I mean, when it becomes reusable, if I've got something that truly wants to reuse it, then I can do that. I think people just over refactor at times. Just, so an argument could be made that the function names are self-documenting, and that would be a reason to put this all inside of a function. But I don't think so. Like, I don't think if I look at this, it's as useful for figuring out what this code does as like a plain English description of it. So I vote to delete that and refactor when I actually have a good reason to refactor. People can over refactor, and I'm not going to be one of them. The stuff up here, what does it do? Instance a clone from the prefab and set some store its offset transform and hide the clone. There. Okay, so here, delete all this. This becomes a point. And then I get to delete all this code. I like deleting code. Okay, that's not bad. I'm going to change this to a consistent name because I decided that points were what all of these things are and dots are the specific types of points. Seek dot prefab. Alright. Okay, then I got to change this. This. This I can just change to container. Okay. This should be a point. Okay, that's looking pretty good to me. So I'm going to save that, just make sure I didn't break anything. Make sure I did not regress. Wait for the Unity build. Wait for it. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. There it is. No regression. Wait. Oh, regression. Is it? Okay. It's because I renamed. That's all. So set that. Back in business. Okay. So that does that. Now let's get back to the design part. So I'm just thinking, what is what is the way that I make two different parts of my system communicate with each other? So logical, and there's the view, the presentation. Logical to presentational. I don't use all the updates of game objects. Instead I have a centralized update. So inside main object update. That's where everything happens. I don't want to mess around with like what order things are updating in. I just want to explicitly update everything inside of that loop. That's a better life for me. Oh, no hiccups, please, no hiccups. Okay, so what are the things that happen? Player update. Level update. So level update. Thing is, it's not tied to a level update, all these different animations and stuff. So I should have it occur independently of the level update. Okay. What the level update does do is give me information that changes changing position and level content. Well, changing level content. Okay, so anytime that a player command is sent to updater, to level updater, when a player command sent to level updater, after update Fling Guide. So I could create a Fling Guide util. Fling Guide util. Get array info and pass in a board. And out the array info. The array info is going to be length, blocking, or state. And that's it. Times 4. Return an array of 4, 1 for each direction. Okay, then so this will call Fling Guide util. Now, this does not have to be a purely logical thing. It can also handle view stuff. So Fling Guide util can have init, pass the player transform, and it will set arrays, the array game object, not the game object, but the set the seek array component instances from the player transform. Say it's also got like an update. Maybe this isn't a util anymore. Maybe it's just the Fling Guide. Let's say update board. board. And then inside this, it analyze for each ray, analyze board. Say on board update. Analyze board and set ray info. Okay, so that would be this information, length and state for each of those. I don't call this all the time. I don't call this all the time. Also, check for transitions to different states, to different animations. But it will be able to do that, but it won't initially, not for this first round that I'm going to write. And then update or change. Just don't want to use update for too much more than the original kind of every frame type meaning. So update where animation control stuff goes. But it would also be okay for some setup to happen for the game objects inside of onboard change. So I think that's it. I think that's it. Now this does not need to be a mono behavior. It can be a simple object, simple class, not derived from anything. And we'll just, inside of here, okay, after the command, we'll call it fling guide on board change. Main loop, call fling guide update. It might be worth thinking of this as a larger object that has some other things to it later, because I also wanted to make a walk guide. So how if I just call this player guide, player guide. And in that way I'll also have one place to handle transitions between like the walk guide and the fling guide, and any other kind of heads up display type stuff that goes around the player. Not really heads up because it's a top down view, but it's the same concept. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Add move all these notes off to the place where they will be most applicable. I don't really need to make this like a big singleton type class, because I can just have it be instanced inside of the main loop, which is the only place it needs to be. It's not really useful to make it all singleton. So I'm thinking about my game object structure that I want. I think it would make sense to just put all of the stuff inside of a guide object. So put all those in there. Yeah. What? Oh, secret. Secret is what they are. Okay. Okay, now I just assign them here. Oh. Okay. So then, let's make these private. Might as well create like a little struct for each of the 4 directions. So let's do that. Private Struct fling ray info. It's gonna have inside of it. Well, you know what? This was gonna have length and state. Those are already held within the seq ray type. No reason to use it twice. Yeah, no reason to. Okay, so onboard change. I was gonna store the player piece, but I realized that might be fragile. Support. Okay, so then let's start from my seq square, which will be basically this is going to scan through the board to see what will block the ray, so or how the ray will be resolved. So let's see. This length. Okay, so then I have to think what blocks a fling. And I should just go and check if there's something that I can use in the logic instead of recreating it. So I already have some code that checks if a player is blocked when they fling. So let me see. Fling. Okay. That's a good one right there. Does wall, block, push, or fling? Whew, this is fairly involved. So I'm wondering about refactoring just this block here. But it's got stuff, it's tied to this here. So there's 3 different outcomes of this block. Two of them have this outcome of just canceling the fling. canceling altogether. Another one, this break here, says, okay, this is, you can fling, but the fling will stop right here at this square. And the third state is this square does not block a fling, does not cancel a fling. So fling. Fling traversal. Get. Let's see. Cancel. Block. Cancel, catch. Let's stick with my other naming convention. Block, catch, open. Block, catch, open, pass. 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 Okay, so if I have those three states, I can say public pool find fling traversal for square. That will take board. That will take. This is the part I don't enjoy. Let's see. The column. New call, new row. Oh, God. I kind of need all that, though, even if I'm going to figure that from the other place. So, what are the things I need to know? Int C, int R, int H. Int new C, int new R, int new H. It's new. What is this? Previous height plus DH, which is probably exactly the same thing as new height. Let me double check that. So previous height is equal to new height, and then new height gets added DH to it. I could replace this with new height. It would be clearer in meaning. Watch me introduce a very subtle bug. Okay. New height. It would be, that's gotta be equivalent. Okay. This is previous or current. You can say current. I also have to pass this D call and D row. Okay. that's for a certain kind of check. Now I could imply some of these things, but then that would just mean more calculations I have to perform inside of here twice. I don't want to do that. Okay, so that should do it. So let me just copy and paste this. This will be blocked. Also blocked. This will be caught. And if it falls through, pass. Okay, then I gotta map these guys. So new call is the same thing as new C, new row is new R. I suppose I don't have to pass CRH here. No, but I'm gonna. So it's going to be C R H D C D R. Fling traversal. Traversal. Let's see this result equals find traversal for square board. Next one is, am I passing new first or old first? Old first. Okay, then good. Then new call, new row, new height, decall, D row. If result equals fling traversal block return false if result equals flying traversal catch, then break. Rest of this I get to delete. Looks a little bit better. What is previous height used for? It makes me nervous. Did it just cancel out of the logic? Is it some vestigial remains of code that used to be useful? Because the only thing I used it for I don't know. I don't see any other use for it. I'm going to take it out. And if it's wrong, I've got get at my service. I can revert. So let's save that. Go back to my player guide. Here I can use the same logic. I don't have to use this part here because that's already included, so I can say another thing I could do is just make this static. Really? What's the thing? Did I make this virtual too? Okay, what if I make this guy static? I like things that are static. See, now that I made that static, I know that nothing else outside of this function and the parameters here are affecting what goes on inside of it. Let me see if I still need this virtual thing. Okay. Taking this out. I remember why I had it. There was like some custom handling I wanted to have there. Okay, so fling, what was it? Traversal does wall push a thing. It was for creatures that are more than 1 square big. Okay. I don't have any overrides for it. Fling traversal. Okay, now this is a proper static function, which means that I can more safely call it. That's not quite the right way of saying it. I don't have to think as hard about calling it, because I know that the state of the player piece or any other piece has nothing to do about determining the truth that it can provide me. Okay, so then we go. Make sure I get all this in the right order. It is old, then new, then DCDR. So most likely one that it would find would be pass. So I'll check that one first. Return seek ray state seeking next likely catch. So, yeah. So that returns that. So that'll keep seeking until a resolution to blocked or catching is found. At that point, let's see what the actual state is. Switch state, and then I'll call Oh, come on. Call the appropriate visual state or presentation state setter. So this will be direction. Fling raise direction show seeking length. That's it. Okay, and do the other ones. I suppose I could have gone seeking, catching, blocking. Caught would be a better word, but I've changed too many words. It doesn't matter that much. Seeking makes sense because it's still in progress. Caught and blocked makes sense because it's a resolved state. So yeah, at some point I might change this to caught. I don't know. It's not worth fiddling with. I'll put one more down here. Which isn't really coded for yet, but okay. I don't like that. I don't like that. Wait till I actually need that code before writing it. So let's debug serve. That handles on board change. That's a fair amount of new code. So let me fix the main object update. Now I might actually be able to see something which would make me happy. Particularly if I can manage to get this in this session. That would be really cool. So private player guide. New player guide. You know, constructors are kind of the same thing as init, so I might just pass the transform of this guy in there and call it good. Let me change that a little bit. So this player follow object is going to be the same thing as the player transform. I can pass that there. Oh, I'm wrong maybe. Player follow object. What does that have? Come on. Yeah, the player follow object will have the player transform. So I can go like that. Okay. Get rid of that. So then in the update, I don't like that I already used a very similar name for this other thing, but at least the pattern is the same. So let's say player guide on board change. Board. That might be it. I mean, it won't be because it's just really unlikely that it's going to work the very first time. I just put in a few hundred lines of code there, untested, and yeah, it's not likely to work the first time. That's why I've already got the breakpoint set, ready to check it out in the debugger. I want to see what happens when it initializes, when it calls after the board update. Let me set these things to some sensible defaults. Okay. Let's save all of that. So I want to update the player prefab. Come on. Okay, then I'll save the project. Okay, now play it. Play it. Oh, I do know one thing that won't work right away. That's alright, I'll come back to it. Because probably there'll be like at least two things that are wrong in this run. I might as well fix them all at one time. But just to make a comment, to do. Set upper bounds on number of points in fling rate. Okay, so I don't forget. Okay, I'll just check to see if it finds stuff. Did it find something? Yes. Good. Good. Okay. So another note to myself is that no, fine. So here we go. The board changed. Let's get the player piece. Get the player location. Set the initial state to seeking. Let's see where the player's at. Yeah. The first delta should be 0, -1 for north. Yep. Okay. Length will be 1. Set that to different. Yep. Okay. Get seek ray state for the square. I expect it'll be pass. Yep. Cool. So far so good. It's probably going to be passed for quite a few loops. Let me set this down here. Hopefully it won't infinite loop or exception on me. Cool. So I think it'll be blocked because I think it goes off the end. No, it's catching. Okay. Well, that will be interesting. At least length. What's the length? 9? Okay, that's still even. That's settable. Oh, there was an exception. There was an exception. Uncaught. I think it's probably in like a bad state. Okay, well we got one of these guys going down. It's got off by 1 error. Now these other ones, I would kind of expect them to fuck up if they go too far out. Actually, this north one is showing correctly. West one should show a ray off over here catching. Alright, that's kind of a cool first step. West and east don't seem to be working, that's okay. There we go. And off by 1 error. Easily correctable. Some little twitchiness to it. I don't know why it's not Okay, if I go north, it kind of... Oh, is it... I think it's... While I'm moving north, the whole player offset thing goes with me. So I probably just want to, when I get into my animation control, I'll just turn off the fling guides, the fling rays on each move that I make. Okay. So west and east are not working, even when I'm down here. Okay. So a good start. A good start. So I made one comment that I want to take care of. So if I go over here, okay. So that will fix that. I should see, like, what is it that is causing west and east not to work. I think there's something with it might even be it's not west and east that's messing up, but it's the tail end of the logic for setting north. So it did seem to throw an exception within that. Alright, so I'll set the breakpoint there. Already debugging. Come back here. I think I can just hit play. It will pick up the latest. I don't know why I did that. Let's see, am I on west or east? Yeah, that's west. So it's catching. Looks like catching blew up. Okay, let me see what it's doing. I think I keep on using these the wrong way. So it's not the max that I should be returning, it should be the min. Fine. Okay. God, stop it. Keep on thinking it's max because I want like the upper bound of, anyways, I'm using it the wrong way. And also I just fucked something up. Fucked two things up. Min. Okay. Can you do something better this time? It's going a little bit late and I want to finish this, but I also don't want to get caught off guard by a partner coming home with no food. Got tacos. Got tacos from work with tasty pork. What's your ETA? Good. Yeah, but where is the west and east? Okay, let me set my breakpoint again. So I should be catching in 4 directions in this one place. Okay, I expect it to be catching for north. Yes. Set this here. Alright, so let me, instead of tracing through everything, I I didn't do anything. I just set a breakpoint. That's all I did. You were already paused. I didn't save a file. I did nothing. It's not only spinning, but like the spinning itself is slow. So I can't even get like a regular normal speed spin. That's got to be broadcasting related. That's got to be broadcasting. Okay. Ooh, normal spin, normal spin, normal spin. Slow spin, slow spin. Come on. What is this shit? What is it? Ah, so fucking annoying. Alright. You know what? This is going to be a cliffhanger because I'm going to end the stream because things are fucked up. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you did happen to watch this, I'll finish this off stream and you will see glorious results in tomorrow's demo at the beginning of the stream. So check it out tomorrow. Glorious results promised. Stopping the stream. I'm going to stop the fucking stream because I'm almost certain it's the cause of my grief right now. Stopping the stream. Stop it up.